This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast, real talk about the voiceover industry, with your hosts, Linda Bruno and JJ Wilson.
What are we starting with?
Applause.
Very nice. Welcome back to the
Thank you.
Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
You are recording on Pro Tools, right?
I am.
Just confirming.
Yes, we
Okay.
are. We have confirmation.
It's been so long since I've seen you.
I
I've missed
know.
you.
I've missed you too. It's been, I don't even want to say, because people will go, what?
So we're back. But
We
I
are.
wanted to have a little bit of fun today, and I came up with a whole list of questions and things I wanted to ask you.
Oh,
that I
ask me?
Ask
Oh,
you.
no, wait a minute.
And I would
Hold
answer
it.
too. I'm going to answer
Oh,
too.
okay.
Okay. These are straightforward things, but
Okay.
stuff, just little stuff here and there, and maybe some stuff people didn't know about.
Okay, I enjoy short walks on the beach.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
I collect foreign tennis balls.
Let's talk about equipment. What is the most expensive piece of equipment in your studio?
Probably my computer.
Your computer.
I've got the big iMac, the largest one you can buy.
Okay. How much you pay for that?
I think it was $2,400 back then. I think it's more now.
Okay. So that's a big investment.
It is a big investment, but I've had this for 5 years and never had to do anything to it.
Right.
My
Not
wife
a problem.
maxed it out with memory. When we first bought it, she put in some extra chip thingies, and it's worked beautifully for me. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have is that. And I have a center monitor that's turned on its side that my wife created and somehow managed to make the print go this way.
Mhm.
So I don't have to scroll. I can read 2 pages at a time,
Yeah, that's nice.
which is nice.
Mhm.
And then on my right side, I have one of those 32-inch curved screens for
Yes,
Pro Tools.
that's a really nice
She got me
screen.
that for a present for Christmas, and it's a really cool screen. And so, yeah, I would imagine my computer is the most
computer.
expensive thing. Yeah.
Okay. For me, definitely it's my desk that Brian Lee convinced me to buy. It's a Martin Ziegler desk that I paid $5,000 for. And it's, if you're watching video, you're going to see, ooh, I'm moving.
Okay.
So both levels move independent of each other. And it also has racks for equipment, for studio equipment. So
Oh, nice. Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a really big, it took a lot of convincing from him. And he would always be like, Lynn, you got to do this. Cause I have herniated discs in my neck from doing voiceover. And he's like, you got to spend it. And I was like, I'm not going to spend $5,000 on a desk. And it was the best purchase I ever made. Just don't tell
Really?
Brian Lee.
I got an $18 chair from Walmart, which I got to get out of because all the time I'm spending in here lately, my back is killing me.
That's not good. This is a standing desk, although I'm sitting right now while I'm doing the podcast. But that's
Yes, I don't stand much when I do voiceovers. I sit.
You don't. Okay, I stand for
No.
all mine.
Do you?
Interesting. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
no, I'm
wrong.
a sitter.
I'm actually at the point where I feel uncomfortable sitting if I do a voiceover.
Well, I because of my foot thingy, I don't stand a whole lot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't really have room. I can reach both walls in my studio this way and almost that way. So
What's the height of your closet? What's the height of your?
it's about 8 feet. It's about
Okay,
8 feet.
That's
Yeah.
not too bad.
Yeah,
I've got
but it's nice. It
12-foot
has
ceiling.
the cool thing when I bought this house was I walked into the walk-in closet. It's got an air conditioning vent on the floor in the walk-in closet.
That's fabulous.
So it's nice and cool, and it has power. It was an outlet in here, and I went,
Oh my gosh,
they must have known I was going to put a studio in there when they built it.
it was made for that.
Yes. So
Wonderful.
it's a great place. It's easy to keep dead too, because it's small.
Yeah, very nice.
Yes.
Okay, what is your most favorite thing in your studio?
My most favorite thing.
I gotta think about that too.
Well, this has really nothing to do with voice. Well, it does, but
Ah,
you can see that picture there.
yes.
It is a spotlight on a microphone, and there's nobody standing there. And then you've got Tweety, Sylvester, Foghorn Leghorn, and all the characters of Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
And those are all the characters that Mel Blanc did.
Oh,
The title of it is Speechless.
when he passed away.
Just, man,
Yeah.
I saw that and I said, oh, I teared up and I went, yes. But I love a lot of things about my, you can't see them, but I
Your
took 2
most
nights.
favorite, though,
My
is
most
that
favorite.
picture.
Yeah, I would think so. Yes. Yes. And this one is also very cool.
Oh, is that your dad?
No, that is Janine's dad working at NBC in the 1950s.
That's really cool.
And that is a huge tube he's holding.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's
That was
awesome.
back in the days of long ago in NBC. But yeah, I think that picture is pretty much my favorite. It reminds me of really how I got into this business, by watching that man have all that fun. And I've learned since that he was voices of things that you never even knew. He was Barney Rubble.
Yeah, crazy. Mm-hmm.
It's nuts.
He was
yes,
the man.
I am a microphone freak. I do like I just got the Warm 47.
Yeah, you're saying.
It's a remake of the Neumann U87 or U47 from the 60s. And I mean, it's a really nice microphone. And it was about $800.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Not too bad.
I have to move
What's your favorite thing?
Camera to show you.
Okay.
But my most favorite thing is actually a sound panel I had created.
That's a sound panel?
Yeah, that's a sound
that is
panel.
So cool.
That I had created of New York City.
That is really cool.
It's right in front of me, above me. But the reason why I bought it was because it was a great reminder of what I used to dream of when I lived in Florida, of moving to New York. And so I thought, I always want to remind myself of that, of what my motivation, like we talked about on the last podcast.
Right.
So yeah, I look at that, but so easy. I went through the sound panel company, ATS. You just send them an image that, you paid for. Right. That's of high quality, and they'll turn it into a sound panel for you.
Do they do porn or no?
I don't know, but you could try. You can find out.
Well,
yeah.
But see, my wall is so close to me here that I have to get a spit rag every day and clean off my especially during car stuff. Oh, sometimes I take new halls, mentholated. My wife calls them, because she's a New Yorker, lozenges. And I say, no, honey, it's lozenges. But anyway, I had one in my mouth and I was doing a voiceover, and it was about this big that was left in my mouth. And I went think and click on the monitor in the middle of a read.
That's so funny.
And then it got stuck between the T and the Y on my keyboard. Oh. And I had to get a pair of tweezers to get it out.
Oh my God. That'll stick.
Yes.
It'll definitely stick.
Yes.
Okay. Here we go.
Yes.
What piece of equipment or plugin could you not live without?
Piece of equipment that I couldn't live without. I love my duet.
Okay. And your duet is what? You got to explain for people that don't know.
It's an interface. And you plug your speakers into it. It goes into the computer. You plug your headphones into it and your microphone. And it's one knob. Yeah. And you just push it and it's on microphone. You push it again, it's on headphones. You push it again, it's on speakers. For those of us who take Xanax all the time, it's a great machine. No, really, I've had this for years and never had a problem with it. And it's
You're
just
lucky.
very simple.
I had two and they both crapped out on me.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've had good luck with that.
Thank God.
And, my absolute favorite thing, now that I think about it, I bought a Bose system about 10 years ago with a nice big sub and little speakers. I swear to God, they're this big. And I've got them hanging upside down, up there. And that's for playback from iTunes and stuff like that. Or after I get the files into an email, they play back on those speakers.
That's cool. But then
I've never heard anything like these speakers.
But that doesn't go into the category of something you could not live without.
No, I was referring back to the other question.
Right,
the other thing I love. But yeah, I do love the duet and the way it works for simplicity.
Okay. I think what I cannot live without is the declicker of mouth noise plug-in.
I just bought one this morning that takes room noise out.
Oh,
was
room
39
noise.
bucks.
I
Yes.
had to get rid of because
Yeah.
especially if you take any kind of decongestants or anything, any sinus medication.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. And it doesn't matter how much water you drink or tea or anything, it's still there's little clicks. And you run the thing in, it'll say removed 679 clicks. Like, really? I had that
Under
many clicks?
FDIC. Wow, that's a lot of clicks.
And I have to say, another Brian Lee suggestion, don't tell Brian.
Sorry, I won't.
But it's a good one. I definitely can't live without that.
But yeah, I can't wait to use that because my own studio sounds fine, but some of the newbies we have who are still adjusting their rooms and things like that, I'm hearing, meow in the background.
Oh,
and
ambient
stuff
noise. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And I figured
cool.
it's just a slide. It's a simple slide that takes it out without doing anything else to the file.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife just loaded that in before we started recording this. I haven't even tried it yet.
That's cool.
So $39.
So here's another question then that I didn't have on my list was, what's the very first thing you ever bought for your studio? What's the first thing you bought?
That would have been a microphone.
A microphone?
Yeah, because I feel as though I was very early on in that era to go home
Mm-hmm.
because I was moving to upstate New York and I just, I was raising 2 children on my own and the times were starting to change. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to do this now.
Mm-hmm.
And I took my laptop and it was, you've got mail.
Yes.
And everything was slow as possible. I'm going to send you the file. He said, no, please mail it to me. It'll get here sooner. The original days of the internet.
Yeah, I would say other than a computer, because we were just getting into computers at that point.
Exactly.
The microphone would have been the next thing. But I would say my biggest investment purchase would have been my Telos Zephyr box.
Oh, yes. I did have that as well.
Because at the time,
I bought Connie's, as a matter of fact.
did you?
Yes.
So I needed a new one because, Brian Lee, geez, he's showing up in everything. He was saying to me, if you want to compete and you want to be with the big networks, they do everything with ISDN. I don't know why he sounds like that. He doesn't sound like that at all.
Oh my God, he sounds just like your mother.
I know. If you want to make, I put an accent on it too.
Okay.
He said, you're going to have to invest in this thing. And it was like $5,000.
Yes, it was a lot of money.
And I barely had a pot to piss in, so my parents lent me the money and then I slowly paid it back.
Yep.
But damn, if I didn't have, and my first TV station, radio station, Wink, they used ISDN. I remember doing that first session and being like, wow, you can record me?
Yes.
Yes.
And since then, that's gone away because it was getting too expensive to run and pay for every month. And
we just threw mine out. Actually, the one I bought from you, we threw it out.
Did you?
Yeah. Just went to the electronics dump the other day.
Yeah. It's times have changed. Now we have Source Almost Connect.
I've had good luck with Source Connect.
So have I. I really have. When they first started, it was a little iffy, but I've not had a problem in a couple of years through every session I've done through that.
Knock on wood.
And their customer service is pretty darn good too.
Is it? I haven't had.
I had one of their representatives call me from the train.
Wow.
Said, I got your message. I'm one of the, whoever, and what can I do? And I went, sounds like you're on a train. He goes, yeah, I'm going to Manhattan.
Wow. How
and
nice.
So good customer service, and it's
very
inexpensive monthly fee, and it's a great thing to have. You will need that.
What do you think is the main reason that what do you think is the reason? Apparently I was doing talk to text. What do you think is the main reason that your studio sounds so good?
Because it's small.
Okay.
And it's easy to, when they say soundproof a room, you're not really soundproofing it from the outside in.
Right.
Because my closet is in the kind of the center of the house, so I don't really have to worry about that unless Janine is vacuuming or turns on the washing machine while I'm recording, because then I hear. But I think the fact that it's small, and we just start with I would say I go about 75% foam.
Okay.
On the room.
Mm-hmm.
I leave some spots open just for a little bit of liveliness.
Mm-hmm.
When I shut the closet door, the back of the closet door does not have anything on it. And I think I'm going to try a couple of pieces of foam on that to see if I can deaden it just a little bit more. But I've never had a complaint in any of my studios.
Okay.
We just, once I get 50% up, then I start recording things, and Janine's got foam in her hand, and I go, I'm still hearing it back there.
Right.
But what I find is if you're in a big room, but you're good because you've got the wall behind you.
Yeah, my room's probably twice as large as yours.
Yes.
And
you have the wall behind you, but I always go against the other wall. So it's bouncing off everything and going all the way to the other side of the room. So I actually had to build a 3-tiered room divider thing, and put soundproofing in that and keep it behind me. Yeah. And my last house had 12-foot ceilings. So I had to actually take a 4x8 sheet of foam and put a piece of wood on it, tied it to strings, put hooks in the ceiling, and hung it down so that it was about 7-8 feet above me.
That's what Dave used to have at the old studio.
Yes. Yes.
I have about 22 sound panels in my room here, and they're 2 feet by 2 feet each, except for the specialty one. But in front of me, I have 7, 8 sound panels.
Right.
So,
and your room sounds awesome. I mean, there's no bounce whatsoever.
Right. So it's a matter of, you don't have to cover everything, but you have to cover what's important.
Yes.
And like he's saying, it's that continual test. You do the test, you listen back.
You'll know when it's right. You'll know when it's right. You'll get to that point. You go, okay, we're done.
Yeah. Some of our students, and I ask them to, I say, send me the sound of your room, send me, clean with nothing, and then send me with you speaking. Right. And then we go back and forth with what's happening here. Because I'm not an engineer, but I know enough to be able to get us to hear a dead room.
Yes. Yes.
That's the important
Some
part.
of them are too dead. It feels like it's like stunted. It's weird if you get too dead.
I got one of those booths years ago, and it was too dead that I had to. Okay.
You want to push pause or just leave it running?
Leave it running. It's fine.
Okay, it's my real estate agent about the
Sure.
house.
Go ahead. I mean, we can just address the fact that you had to take a phone call, and we're back.
Well, you can just pick it right up from there. I'll just hit record when I said it can sound stunted or too dead. We were talking about the rooms.
Okay. Okay.
Just say, you can overdo it. And then we'll just move on. All right, hang on.
Oh, am I still recording? Yes. I wound up buying one of those booths, the ones that, what do they used to call them? They're really famous.
ISO booth?
No, they were the old style one. It was really famous for a long time. Anyway, the thing was just way too dead. And I had clients complaining, going, what happened? Yeah. There was no ambient sound. Yes. You need something.
That's why I only do about 75%. You got to have some liveliness to your room.
Yeah.
There's a fine line to liveliness, and it sounds like you've moved all the furniture out of your dining room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, you can't have that. No.
It's the wonderful thing.
So,
okay. So here's another question for you.
Yes. This is fun, by the way.
Right? I figured.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Something different.
Yeah.
As a working voice actor, what's your least favorite part of the day?
Billing. I'm terrible about that. You know what I do? I when I finish a script, I just minimize it, and it goes down on my iMac. And sometimes I got like 13 or 14 of them sitting there. And
why?
Then we have a power outage. And I don't remember what was there. So
well, let me ask you, why do you not like to do billing? Is it because you have to try and figure out what you're charging? No,
it's just a pain.
Oh, I see.
It's just a pain. And I've gotten very fast at it, but
yeah.
And I'm working on my organization. I've got one file on my computer that says to be billed, but for some reason it's just too much work for me to go save as to be billed. I just minimize it, and then a week later I'll do it. I made myself come in the studio at 8:00 this morning, and I did my billing.
Wow.
And I'm just not good about that, because all you're doing is putting off getting paid.
Exactly. I set up separate accounts within Gmail, and one is to bill. And then I drag the email to it, that I know. And then the end of the week, look through it. Sometimes if I don't have time, it's the end of the month. Right. And then I assign everything to be billed. But otherwise it's, it's tough to do.
The other day I was clicking on things on the bottom of my screen, trying to get it. For some reason, the icons, some go over to the other screen, and then I got to click. But anyway, I deleted one of the scripts, and I didn't know which one it was. So for 25 minutes this morning, I'm going, what could that have been? And then I realized that it was this, and then I had to go back a week and a half in my email. And yeah, so I'm going to get better about that too. I'm going to put everything in a file.
I think, say, as far as this doesn't happen every day, but one of my least favorite parts of the day that can happen is when a client comes back and says, we got to do a fix, but it's from a script that they have all this ambiguous, and now I have to dig it out. I got to find it. I got to find the email. And then with some of these clients, I've got a lot of clients now that just enjoy not starting a new email. So they just add to an old
Oh, I know.
email.
And you don't see it.
Yeah. And then it's like, how do you, because I already have their email classified in 1 month, but then it's 2 months later and they're answering that same email. So the thing comes out, it's like 18 emails contained within.
And you got to figure out which file is where. I agree wholeheartedly. My favorite is when they text me stuff like that. Can you record this file?
Yeah, I don't accept
but
text.
I'm going to need an email to send it back.
I don't like text. I don't like WhatsApp. I don't want you sending me any jobs like that. I guess we're not that modern, but for me, I need it in an email. We've talked about that.
Yes.
What is your most favorite part of the day as a working voice actor?
Doing the jobs and auditioning. I know you think that's you're not as keen on the
auditioning is not a good part of my day.
No, I love that.
Do you?
It just it's just fun. It's a game.
Yeah.
And I just, I've got, I did 3 or 4 or 5 today, and you just go from one to the next, from one to the next, from one to the next. And I'm getting better at keeping them down below a half hour each.
Well, that's good. My favorite part is when
you get in the car to go home.
No, when the session ends and they say, I think we've got everything.
Oh, yes. That's a big breath moment. That's like,
okay, stop the audio file and say, okay, so I'm going to send everything over to you. Did you want a WAV file? You want great. It was wonderful working with you. And the moment we disconnect in whatever format we have connected, I'm like, it feels so good because I'm like, I just made money.
That would be one of mine too.
Right?
That would be one of mine too. Yes. Yes.
That's always a good one.
Yes.
All right. Let's see.
That's a good question. Yeah.
All right.
So many things I do like about this business. It's hard to.
What project are you most proud of?
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
This is good that I didn't give you these questions in advance.
Yeah, no.
They got to come off the top of your head.
When you've been working as long as you and I, that's a toughie.
Yeah.
Project
most proud of. Well, there's probably multiple.
There's multiple categories to that. Most proud of, funniest, the most fun, the coolest. Like the coolest one I've ever done was the shows I did for the Science Channel.
Okay.
Those were cool. Those were an hour and 56 minutes of narration, shot in high def, and just, a lot of money was spent on these. Those are cool. The funniest one I ever did was the Wagner Heat Gun, where I didn't know what was going on. I just heard the soundtrack through Source Connect, and it was church music. And I'm saying the new Wagner Heat Gun does this and this, and like removing old paint. And I'm hearing church music, and I stopped the session and I talked to the producer, and I said, I got to ask you something. What are we seeing? Are we seeing a man on a scaffold in the Sistine Chapel removing the paint? And he said, yes. And I went, you win.
Yeah.
the guy's going, and then the security guard comes running over going, no.
Yeah. That's
so that was, I said, he was brilliant at that. The funnest ones I love are my characters. The one day they called me and they said, we need you to be a chocolate vending machine. And a girl's trying to get milk out of it.
Right.
What do you got? And I said, well, they said they want you to be kind of snarky and, like, what are you doing? So I immediately went to my New York pervert.
Right.
As a character key. And, hey, you want to buy some chocolate? And they loved it. And it's been on every demo for, I think, 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're pretty proud of that then?
I'm very proud of that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I added a line at the end, which normally you shouldn't do. But her last line was, suppose I just unplug you. And that was supposed to be the end of the spot. But I realized that we had been running just a little bit short on the other takes. So I said, ouch, that hit me below the chips. And everybody went, oh my God, we got to leave that. And I went, thank you. So, that'd be one of the fun ones. Definitely. Yeah.
I think that projects I'm most proud of, because like you, there's a few. But live announce, I was very proud of myself that I was able to do that.
Did you make any mistakes?
No, during that one, there was one show, and it was a really important one.
I did a few of those. I couldn't do them anymore.
They're hard. I know.
Oh God, they're just talk about stress.
The nerve.
Yes.
So Radio City Music Hall, I'm in the back sitting at this little tiny table. Of course, need a chair? Well, only a union guy can come bring you a chair because it's New York City. So you gotta wait. Oh, a union guy's got to come bring the lamp so you can see your script. You know, everything is like, so I'm sitting there. I'm nervous as all get out. I've got my my little trusty lozengers.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was having a little bit of like, vocal issue because it was winter, and it was the Shine On Awards. So it had all these famous women that I was introducing. So it was Fran Drescher. She just became the president of SAG.
Yes.
It was Gwyneth Paltrow. It was the famous one for me is Devil Wears Prada.
Good old what's her name? Never forget her.
Oh, and she's amazing. She's my most favorite actress. I'm like drawing a blank. Want
me to ask Siri?
Oh, don't, because it's going to drive me crazy. Anyway, I'll continue and then we'll come back to it. So having the script, which was being changed on the fly, they would suddenly change the bio.
Yep.
And the woman who hired me, who's a friend of Dave's, which is how I got into the door with this thing, is literally sitting next to me on top of the table. So she's making the changes. And it's like, you're going down in 3, 2, 1. Meryl Streep. Okay. And the thing is, I'm sitting there all nervous and she's eating all of my lozenges. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, woman, I need those. You're not announcing. So it was nerve wracking. But then a time came where Meryl came out. She was waiting to go out and she sat on a speaker right in front of me, like a big, large speaker. And I know. And I'm like right there. And she's literally like a foot from me. And she looks at me and she puts her hand down. She goes, "Hi, I'm Meryl." I'm like, duh. So I'm like, "Nice to meet you." So of course the union guys are like, "Oh, Mrs. Streep, let's get you a chair. Let's get you a chair." And she's like, "Oh no, I'm fine." And she sat there on the speaker for like 15 minutes. But finishing that event, I was like, wow, I kept my cool.
Yep.
I'm very proud of the fact that I did that.
Very stressful. Very stressful. I don't sleep nights before those. That's why I don't do them anymore. Because you got to make sure you don't make any mistakes.
I don't do them anymore either. No, I think Dave
I don't have what it takes anymore to get that nervous.
It takes the whole day too, because you got to do the rehearsals and all that.
Yeah.
And God bless people that do it, but no. That I would say was one of my most proudest moments because of how I handled it.
Yes.
Because I don't have anything recorded from it. I don't have any, unfortunately, any. But then other than that would be some of the Disney stuff that I've done, the singing I've done for Disney. That would be, and there's a lot of other things too, but the things that, and today right now, I'm still proud when I go into Costco and I hear myself on the Costco TVs.
Oh, absolutely. Isn't that fun?
It's cool. Isn't
that fun? I told my first wife, back in, what would that have been? 95. She said, "I want a divorce." And I said, "Okay, but you're never going to get rid of me."
You're going to hear me everywhere.
Everywhere. Let me ask you a question.
What's that?
Has any of your friends ever called you and said, "Stop following me"?
I've heard people. Well, the thing is, I get now, was that you that did that spot? Because a lot of people, some people sound like me.
Yes.
And then I have to go,
"Oh, I know that was you." And I go, "Yeah."
No, it wasn't me. No. I'm not the one that booked it, but some other girl did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one guy called me one day. He was on a cruise in Vienna or something. I don't know what. But he said, "Please, you're on my frickin' closed circuit TV and I'm halfway around the world. Leave me alone." And even my own mother, when I lived in Florida, when I was hot, I was doing the lottery and Ford, and I was the voice of Channel 4. And when you're watching Channel 4, you hear me say, "Channel 4 News, sponsored in part by the Florida Lottery." And then that would be me. Yeah. And then sponsored by Ford. And it would be me. And my mother called. She said, "Stop.
Yeah.
Shut up. Enough."
I went through a little period of time like that, and people say,
"It was wonderful.
You're back to back on this and
this."
Yes.
Which is good and bad.
Yes. But if you get to that point, it's a fun moment when you're like, wow, this is
Okay,
pretty
I
cool.
got a really cool question for you.
What?
What's the worst session you've ever had?
Well, I think I've told the story.
Oh, that one?
The one
That's
that
the worst
Dave was
one?
involved with at the studio, with the people that were like, is this even a real studio? They were questioning the quality of our studio as they spoke through a speakerphone. And then it was constant. No, you're not reading it the way I want you to read it. And then we finally get a good read and they go, oh, that's great. That's great. Let's just do another one just like it. So Dave just played the same read. And the woman goes, that's not like it. That's not the same. We just played back the same read.
The old engineer trick. Can you turn up the headphones? Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
But second from that, the beginnings of that Ortega one, where the guy said, the 7 producers and the one said, I'm the one that didn't want you. Right. The rest of the session went fine. It was just that moment. There are
just moments usually.
But then I've got the one guy that I had the one line I had to do, who's 5 words, ISDN session. And he said, do you know how much you're making per word? That was the first thing he said to me when we started the session. And so he had me for the hour. He kept me for the hour and he had me do it 90 plus times. One line, 90 plus times. So any student that I say to you 3 in a row, give me another 3 in a row. That's nothing compared.
Nothing. Nothing.
That would be the worst. What about you? What's the worst for you?
I think it was, it was a long time ago and we were working, I was in a booth in a recording studio and the company had this person working for them that we didn't click. We never did. And I mean, she had videotape machines in there and monitors taped to the microphone. And it took like an hour to set it up. And I'm reading and things were falling. And I just wasn't happy. And I finally, the one and only time I've ever done this, and I said, when you guys get your crap together, give me a call. And I left. And you know what? Strangely enough, they never called again.
Oh my God, I'm shocked.
I know.
I'm shocked by that.
I know. But, and there's one there, you and I both have been through this, where we have the one client we pray doesn't call.
Yes.
Because they're a cluster.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
okay, let's do it again. No, I'm not going to do it again. No.
I had one, haven't worked for him a long time. Nice guy. But every time we do a session, he basically line read every line because he wanted me to read it exactly like he read it. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why don't you just do it?
Yeah. Exactly.
Because I'm not putting anything of me in this spot. It's all, read it with this cadence and this intonation. Right.
One of those not long ago. Mm-hmm. Yes, I did.
I have an interesting question for you, and then we'll wrap this up. Have you ever lied during a session to a client?
Oh God, every day.
What do you lie about?
Well, can you read this again and make it, go faster, but make it sound slower? Sure. No problem. I mean, there is a way to do that, but no, I don't think I really have.
No.
I don't think I really have. No.
I've lied about being sick.
Oh, exactly. Yes, that's the one thing I will lie about. I've never been sick in a session that they know about. Yeah. You don't say anything about that. The show goes on.
Right.
I remember that from when I was 9 and doing the role of Winthrop in The Music Man in community theater, and I'd pretty much lost my voice.
Wow.
And my dad said, you got to do it. There's nobody else to play your part tonight.
Yeah, get up there.
And they gave me tea and lozenges and everything else, and my voice was cracking all over the place, but I got through it. And my dad said, that's what we have to do. It may not have been your best performance, but then again, it may have been. Because look what you overcame to do the performance, which you knew you had to do. There was no way around it.
So true.
And it's fun. The whole business is fun.
Now back to speaking of being sick, when I worked in radio in the city, I was at the Smooth Jazz station, CD 101.9, and we had this huge blizzard was coming in. Huge blizzard. What?
22 in a row from Kenny G.
Yeah, we never played Kenny
94.
G. No, the program director hated it.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Mine loved it. So
blizzard coming in, right? Of course, we have to be on the air. Radio doesn't shut down because it's public service. So I am sick as a dog. I am like some stomach virus. I'm at urgent care, literally throwing up to the point where people are moving away from me. They don't want to sit near me. So I get in there and the doctor's like, oh, you have an infection. And if you hadn't come in, you'd have to go to the hospital. So he gives me a bunch of drugs and I call my PD and I go, hey, I'm not going to be able to come in and do my shift. I'm sick. This is one of those times when the PD was not an on-air talent. So it's not like he could step in.
Right.
So he goes, I'm sorry, there's no one else that can do this. You have to do this. So I drove into Manhattan and did the shift. I would do a break. I kept a garbage pail next to me. I would throw up, wait, do the next break, throw up. And my ex-husband at the time came in and drove me out of Manhattan in this blizzard because, again, the show must go on.
Yep.
And radio, there's no choice. TV too. You have to continue. But
my mother was doing a 2-person play. No, I don't know what play it was, but it was in an old barn, and it was just my mother and the guy on stage, and very serious, summer stocks, professional theater. And in the middle of one of her lines, a bat flew in and landed right at her feet. And she did not flinch. She just kept going with her lines. Then one of the workers came up with a pitchfork and was going, the bat is squealing, and my mother's reading her lines and just, like nothing is going on. And then he took the thing that was on the pitchfork and walked off stage.
Oh my God.
And nobody broke. Nobody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
my father used to tell stories about Tim Conway. I mean, that was his game. He could get anybody.
Good.
On the Carol Burnett show, it was just, they would do the first run through for the actual taping, then they do it again, as a backup, and he would always change everything and add his own stuff.
I mean, so funny.
Wow. But yeah.
Comedy geniuses.
Yes.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our little Q&A today.
I did.
Good.
I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I hope the listeners enjoyed something different from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of course, thank you for joining us. Join us for a workout. We would love to meet you if we have not.
I got to get some exercise.
And take the online course with us because it's very easy and very straightforward. It really is the only way to get started in this business affordably.
And then in 20 years, you can sit on a podcast and say, what was your best time? What was
right? Exactly.
And you can do what we just did because it's fun.
Just head to our website, voiceover.guru. Voiceover.guru.
Why do you sound like you're from Minnesota when you say that?
I want to sound sweet.
I sounded Scottish again. I know. I got to work on that.
Everybody, have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for listening.
This show is sponsored in part by Lossingers.
Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru.